Welcome back. In this video we're going to have a look at the Preprocessor Directive define, and we're only going to look at very simple cases and simple uses of it. Basically we've got this hash define. It can do a lot of things, but we're just going to use it to give names to literals that are in our code. If you're interested, you can search more on that, or we might do a video later on different preprocessor directives and more complex defines. But right now, this is the most useful use for it for what we're up to. So you can see here I've got a bunch of hash defines. Okay. And you'll note I've got hash define number of dogs is 5. Hash define number of cats is 4. You'll notice there's no assignment here, and there's no semicolon here. Okay. I've then got hash define pi as 3.1415f to indicate that it's a float. I did hash define my name as Matt as a string, and I did hash define special character as a character with M inside of it. Now, if we start having a look inside of our code, we can start seeing these macros. So here, 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 and here. Now, if we wrote this without these, we would normally just write here, for example, if 4 is less than 5. Okay. Now this isn't a great example, but we can see quite clearly that this improves documentation. Okay, because we've got if number of cats is less than number of dogs versus if 4 is less than 5. The 4 and 5, it isn't clear what they are. So by using these macros, we can improve the documentation greatly because it makes it more readable. We've got another example here where we've got a variable called number of animals, and we assign it the number of cats plus the number of dogs. Once again, if we had 5 plus 4 there, it wouldn't be clear what we're adding together and where these values came from. Now, why these are called preprocessor directives is because before the code is compiled, all that happens is the preprocessor will come along and replace all of these macros with their values. So the preprocessor, okay, which comes before compiling, will literally just put the 5 and 4 in there, okay, such that that will go into the compiler. So it's not about saving memory or anything like that. It's more about readability, and also the other reason is maintainability, and that more comes down to this part here. So here we've got an array of dogs, okay. So here we've got int age of dogs is number of dogs. So that means that number of dogs would be replaced with a 5. We've then got this for loop that starts at 0, continues until its I is less than, until I is equal to 5, and increments by 1. And we've got the same thing here. Okay, so we've got this in this for loop. Now, you'll notice that we've used number of dogs in a large amount of places in this program, okay? And if we didn't use a macro here, and let's say we wanted to double the amount of dogs, then we'd have to come in, replace all the 5s in our program with 10s. But by using macros, what we can do is we can come up to the top, get rid of this 5 here, change it to a 10, and then recompile it, and everywhere it says this is now 10. So this really helps with maintaining our code and also changing the scale of our code. So for example, in the test stage, you might only want the number of dogs to be 5, and then you might do a small scale run where it's 10, and then you can change it so that it's 10,000 later on. So by using macros, it does two things at this stage. There are more advanced uses, as I mentioned at the start, but at this stage, it allows you to improve your documentation and make it easier for you to maintain your code and change the scale of your code without going through and changing all of your literals. So the recommendation is to use macros wherever there's a literal in your code, except for things like starting at 0. That's clear that it's the first index. But when it is some value that's not so clear, just create a macro for it, and then you can use it anywhere in your code and change it as you feel. Okay? The big two warnings is don't put a semicolon here and don't put an assignment operator here. Okay? So none of that and none of that. Okay? What you'll find if you do that is you're going to get some weird errors. And the errors are not going to appear up here. They're going to appear here, 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 because remember that all this is doing is replacing these. So it's putting random semicolons and assignments inside of your code. And so it can get quite difficult to find your error if you do this wrong. Alright, that's it for this video. Thank you very much.